In the last few years, something very old has found its way back into the world, not through churches, not through priests or theologians or religious institutions, through the hands of young women who, in many cases, have never set foot inside a cathedral. The Rosary is having a moment, and almost nobody saw it coming. In the last few years, the Rosary has appeared on fashion runways, on red carpets, on the wrists and necks of women who may never have set foot inside a church, and who didn't care. It looked beautiful. It felt like something. That was enough. Meanwhile, on Etsy and in artisan markets, handmade rosaries are selling out. Search volumes are climbing. Women in their 20s and 30s are seeking them out. Not always for prayer. Not always for faith, but for reasons that are harder to put into words. To understand why the Rosary is returning, you have to understand what the world it's returning into actually feels like. We live inside an attention economy designed to fragment us. Every surface is a screen. Every moment is a potential notification. There is no silence that isn't being offered something. And then there's this, an object you hold with your hands. 59 beads, each one a small pause. A rhythm that has existed for 800 years, completely indifferent to your inbox. The Rosary is analog meditation with the longest track record in Western history. That alone explains part of the return, but only part. There's a second current running underneath this one, quieter but perhaps more significant. In the last few years, something called the divine feminine has moved from the margins of spirituality into the mainstream. The idea, ancient, present in almost every tradition, that there is a sacred quality to femininity itself. Not femininity as performance, not femininity as role. Femininity as a mode of being that carries its own kind of power. The Rosary lives entirely inside this current. It has always been at its core a woman's prayer. A meditation centered on a woman's life. The Annunciation, the Visitation, the birth of a child, moments of quiet significance that official church history, written almost entirely by men, consistently undervalued. Young women today are finding their way to the Rosary not despite being modern and feminine, but because of it. And there's a third thread, more material but no less real. We are living through a quiet rejection of disposable things. The same generation that grew up with fast fashion is now buying second hand. The same generation that streamed everything is now buying vinyl. There is a hunger for objects that were made by hand, with intention by someone who cared about the result. A handmade rosary made with real stones, with metal that will oxidize and age, with a clasp that required someone's attention for hours, is exactly that kind of object. It's not a purchase, it's an acquisition, something you keep, something you pass on. Here is something that most histories of the Rosary leave out. For most of its existence, the Rosary was not primarily a church object, it was a home object, a women's object, in an era when women could not preach, could not hold theological office, could not access most of the formal structures of religious life. The Rosary was theirs. It required no priest, no Latin, no institutional permission. It was a form of deep spiritual practice that a woman could carry in her pocket. The women praying the Rosary in the 14th and 15th centuries were not passive. They were engaged in something serious and private and entirely their own. The church blessed it, but it didn't own it. What's happening now has echoes of that. Women reclaiming an object that was always theirs, on their own terms, in their own way, whether that means praying it traditionally, wearing it as jewelry, keeping it on a bedside table, or simply holding it in moments when the world gets too loud. Is it fashion? Maybe in part. Is it faith? For some, yes. For others, something adjacent, a spiritual instinct without a complete doctrine attached to it. Does the distinction matter? The Rosary has survived the fall of empires. the Reformation, 2 world wars, and the complete reorganization of Western society 3 or 4 times over. It has been banned, mocked, forgotten, and rediscovered. Each time, it came back. This moment is not an exception. It's a continuation. If something in this video resonated, if you've been feeling drawn to the Rosary and weren't quite sure why, I want you to know you're not alone. I felt the same way, so I decided to build my own. I sat with the beads, the wire, the small weight of each stone, and something about the process felt right in a way I hadn't expected, so I kept going. I made another one and another. At some point, I thought there must be other women who would want to hold something like this. If you're one of them, there's a link in the description. No pressure, just in case it's time. 안녕하세요.